All right, welcome everyone. This is Cubs on Tap, the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sportsnet Network. I am your host, Cody. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody on Tap. Tonight, I'm joined by our good friend Joe Kilgallen. It was supposed to be Juice. He got mixed up with some stuff, so Joe's subbing in. So thanks for joining us tonight, Joe.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I feel bad I haven't talked to you boys in a while. I haven't been part of this great podcast in a good week. I had a crazy week. But anyway, let's rant about some Cubs baseball, my man.
Yeah, man. And when you say rant, I don't know if you've seen my Twitter timeline, but I am just I don't think I've been this mad about the Cubs this season. They lose 5-0 to the Braves tonight. Ian Anderson was great. The Cubs offense was dead. I think that pretty much sums it all up. Brandon Workman, back-to-back bad outings. That's the short version of what tonight's game was, but we'll talk about a whole lot more, I'm sure, and more in depth. But I'll start with you, man. I guess I kind of vented a little bit there myself, but I'll start with you. How, I guess, what's your takeaway from tonight's game?
Yeah, dude, I do my post-game recaps, everybody. If you go to my Twitter at Joe Kilgallen, after every game, and I started this maybe 2 weeks into last season, during the pandemic. It's like, all right, I've got all this free time now because everything's shut down. Let's talk more Cubs. And I'm patting myself on the back. I guess that's the only positive from tonight is I've kept up with it. I haven't missed a game since I started, even on days where it's like people would be like, I get it, why you had a lot of shit going on. I understand why you didn't do it, but I did it anyway. And the big positive I talked about in the post game was that M&Ms are 2 for $2 at CVS. And I was very happy to find that out earlier today. And that's about it. That's the highlight for me. No, if I'm being serious, dude, Trevor Williams looked good. He looked nasty. I joked about his dad being in every game, but I actually think that's really cool. I was just joking because I remember thinking, do the other players think, our dads are cool too? Maybe our dads should be talked about a little bit. But I think it's a great story. He gave you 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Acuna got him. He made Acuna look stupid in a couple at bats. And then that's why Ronald Acuna, though, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a generational talent. Like, you get it. I didn't get mad when he gave up that solo home run because it's like,
Neither did I. Yeah.
You have a solo home run to that guy, fine. Join the club. He's going to hit about 45 of them. That's understandable. But big picture, if you're number 4 starter, that's what Trevor Williams is. That's what he was brought in essentially as. Gives up 2 earned runs in 5 innings. You'd like to see him go 6, of course, but you take that. You would take that every time out. He is every one of his starts, I'm pretty sure. Maybe he had one that got away. He's given this ball club a chance to win. And that's what you like to see. But for some reason, look, Javi's dealing with a hamstring. Chris Bryant, I guess, had some bicep thing that was bothering him a couple days ago. Hasn't affected his bat, but they were like, fuck it, let's give him a day off. With those two out of the lineup, even with Javi's struggles, he's still a force. He's still a guy that you worry about. It just doesn't look like. And look, every team has that B lineup they run out there every now and then, and they'll win sometimes. I feel like I can't remember the last time the Cubs won with their like, fuck it, well, every look through 162, every team's going to have a lineup where they're like, sure, we'll bat this guy third, like we had David Bodie today, or whatever. That's part of the game. But I cannot remember the last time. Sometimes those lineups go off for 7 runs. And I cannot remember the last time the Cubs had a lineup of that just didn't seem right go off. I don't know, dude. I'm at a loss for words with a lot of this shit too. It was a very blah, dry game. You know what I mean? It was sex without lube. That's what it was. And you didn't get to finish because, people came home. Maybe you're a teenager. No, why would it be without lube as a teen? I don't know. It was bad sex that you didn't get to finish because there was no release.
It was like the first time, I guess. It's never good the first time.
Speak for yourself, dude. No, I'm just fucking around now.
Well, when you think back to it 10 years down the road.
Sure.
I guess, you mentioned a lot of good things. Trevor Williams was great, and he has, honestly, I don't think we've probably talked about him enough this year. He's been pretty solid. Outside of one bad start in Pittsburgh, he's been really good. And, he gave you a quality outing, 5 innings, 2 runs. Like, yeah, of course, I'd wish he'd been able to go 6. And honestly, before Acuna came up in that 5th inning, I thought he might have, because he had struck out 4 guys in a row, and then Acuna hit the home run, and then they started getting the hard contact back. But that was like a 3rd time through the lineup. They were at the top of top of the order after he got that fourth strikeout in a row. So I could understand why that might happen, but I feel bad for the guy because it's like, man, you came out there and you gave the start. You gave the start that the Cubs absolutely needed after what we saw the night before from Zach Davies and the bullpen. And that to me, that's one thing that's frustrating. Another thing that's frustrating to me is you mentioned David Bote batting third tonight. I get it, throughout the B lineup there every now and then, whatever. But the Cubs have lost 3 in a row, man. Like, I know it's still April, but like to me, it's like even if you were going to sit Bryant tonight because of the bicep thing, and same with Baez because of the hamstring, like I don't put David Bote batting third. That's just me. Like I would bat Wilson Contreras third, I guess there, and then maybe move like a guy like like Matt Duffy's been playing well. Move him to second. I don't know. All I know is it's not David Bote in the 3 spot, and because that's again, I know lineups is a lot different.
We're arguing over Matt Duffy versus David Bote in the 3 hole. So like,
well, I'm not saying Matt Duffy in the 3 hole. I'm just saying that like I think you just got to have your regular guys who are normally there, and then in that 2 spot, at least for tonight, like someone else. Like if David Bote wouldn't have been in the 2nd hole, I probably wouldn't even be bitching. I don't know what it is about him being in the 3 hole tonight that I'm just kind of like, why are we doing that? And then Ian Happ's still struggling, even down at the 8 hole. Like I know he's going to get going, but it's just not. It's like throwing fuel in the fire from his at bats tonight. Like the entire offense obviously looked really bad tonight, but it's just kind of like when are we going to get all 3 aspects like every night? Because even in that 3-game losing streak, man, they were like, there were some iffy parts in there, or not 3, the 4-game winning streak, and that. The Mets kind of, I don't want to say the Mets themselves, but like they got some breaks, and they didn't get any breaks over the weekend against Milwaukee, and they're not getting any breaks against the Braves this week so far. It's just been bad. And it's just frustrating because I don't know what else to say. It's just, I thought David Ross should have just I thought he could have put a better lineup out there, even if he wasn't going to play Chris Bryant tonight. Because I understand giving the guy a day off. He's played like every day, and he's apparently got a nagging injury that thankfully hasn't affected his offensive play. But yeah,
I'm with you, and I understand. Yeah, no, I was totally okay with Chris Bryant getting the day off because we've seen his injuries in the past start off as nagging injuries, but then they end up really having damage over the course of the year. We saw it in 2018. We saw it last year. I'm totally cool with being like, all right, you know what? Yeah, you hit a grand slam yesterday. You've been looking great at the plate, but if this is a thing that might linger, Ian Anderson's a tough pitcher. Look, Ian Anderson is a great young pitcher. He really is. You look at his numbers, you look at where he projects to be, and it sounds like I'm making excuses for why the Cubs didn't do anything today. I'm not. You need to muster more than 2 hits, and the quality of the at-bats were pretty piss poor. Wilson Contreras went from yesterday looking amazing to today having some of the ugliest at-bats I've ever seen. That's a frustrating thing sometimes. As far as the batting order goes, like, again, I would have maybe put Rizzo 3rd and Bote 4 or whatever. Bodie's been hitting the ball pretty good lately. I'm not that mad against it. I think when you score 0 runs, you look for any little thing, but when it comes down to it, we scored 0 runs. That's really what it is. We're getting a lot of comments right now. Why not Sogard over Bote with the righty? Sure. Again, I understand that move too with Sogard. For whatever, maybe Bote hits this type of pitcher really well. Again, Ian Anderson just made it. He was a rookie last season, only made about 6 or 7 starts last year. Looked good in the playoffs. So I don't know the book on Ian Anderson, if I'm being honest. I could be totally talking out of my ass. But I understand what you're saying. A few more lefties. Like when I saw the lineup today, I was assuming a lefty was pitching because I saw Marisnik in there and I saw,
Duffy.
And excuse me. I had M&M's just a minute ago and some of the shells are still in the throat. It's dangerous. Kill yourself doing that.
Yeah, dude.
Someone else makes a good point about the Braves were doing terrible. They were struggling worse than we were before coming to town. Guess we are the cure. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, there's still 2 more games left in the series. Hopefully we leave with a split. That's the thing with baseball. It's law of averages. I always hear throughout my entire life, I've noticed this. We'll go face a team that's lost 6 games in a row, and everyone's like, hey, we're facing them at the right time. And I'm thinking, no, we're not. They're not going to lose 10 games in a row. That's just those streaks rarely happen. I like facing teams when they're hot. You go face a team that's won 5 in a row. I'm thinking, good, they're due to lose some games. Let's go in there and mess up their world a little bit. That's just a theory I've always had. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta definitely, though, going into this year, was most respectable publications have them facing the Dodgers in the NLCS. The elite teams in the National League before the season started were the Dodgers, of course, the Padres, the Braves. Those were the 3 in the NL that really jumped off the page at people. I mean, no one else. You can make cases for a few other teams being decent, being good. You could say, hey, actually, no, not really. The rest of them, it's just a crapshoot. Who else besides those 3 make you think elite? Don't say anyone from the NL Central, because we know that's not the case. I'm still not buying this Brewers start. Yeah, their top 3 starters look really good. Their top 2 look pretty elite. Peralta, the book's still out on. And as far as their overall offense goes, they got some guys who are hot now, but do I think they're going to be hot over the course of 162? No. Am I worried about Navarre for a course of 162? I'm not. Same, it's been a frustrating game, Cody. Yesterday, even though it was a loss, was still like, all right, 8-7. They battled back. They had some pop. It was a fun game to watch. You felt like in the 9th inning they could come back. But today, because they had good at bats yesterday, up and down the lineup yesterday, good at bats. Today, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the plate approach was. I don't know if Chris Bryant and Javi being out just kind of like made the team feel lifeless. I don't know if they ate some shitty barbecue for lunch and it factored into dinner time, but it was not a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was one of the worst games so far this year. And all the 3 games that I just think of as far as the worst games of the year, they're the 2 starts from Brandon Woodruff and then this game. Like, it's just whenever the other team's starting pitcher just come in and just shoved down the Cubs' throats. And I could sit here and complain about the offense a shit ton, which I already kind of have. You've mentioned your 2 cents, but also, Ian Anderson, he was the Braves' top pitching prospect going into last year. So, I mean, I'll give the guy credit where it's due. It's just kind of like you said, like the at bats, the approach. It was nothing like yesterday. And someone replied to one of our tweets on Cubs on Tap during the game, where I think I tweeted saying that the offense just completely flip-flopped between tonight and last night. And he said, well, not really. The Cubs had 2 homers, but only had 6 hits. But it was like, well, also the Cubs had some decent at bats. They had a handful of walks from guys you wouldn't expect from either or 2. And I do think the approach and all of that stuff was just completely different from last night compared to tonight. And now they just that's, what is that, 3 in a row? We
lost 3 in a row. We battled back to 500. Remember, we were 6-9. Everyone got a good laugh on that from pervert Twitter, and then we came, 10-10, and now we're 10-13. Still only 3.5 back. Our Caldy 1908 says good teams battle versus great pitchers. Currently, we aren't a good team. Good teams battle versus. You mean like they keep it close? That's what battle means. I mean, are you trying to say good teams beat great pitchers? Because not really. Nobody beats great pitchers. They're great pitchers. I know what you're saying. Currently, right now, we've lost 4 in a row. Did I say 3 in a row? Oh, yeah, we're 10-9. So we won a game over 500. We have lost 4 in a row. So, right. and it's still 3.5 back. I mean, I don't like looking at the standings this much this year because, again, the Pirates are 3rd place. They're 12-11 or something. They're ahead of us. They're ahead of the Reds. Remember the mighty Reds a week and a half ago?
Yeah, everybody lost like 8 in a row.
I remember up and down Twitter, everyone's saying the Reds are going to run away with this division because at the time they were like 4 games over 500, looking great. Now they look like shit, just like us, right? We're like half a game behind them or something. Do I think we're a good team presently? No, I'll say that. I think we're an average team. Do I think we have the capabilities if everyone's playing up to their potential? Yes. If everyone plays up to their potential, yes, they could be a very good team. They'll probably be missing a piece or 2. I think what's like the unknown as a fan this season is that we have all these 1-year contracts left, all these guys left on the final year of their deal. And it's one of those things where in a lot of seasons, say come the All-Star break, you're 500 or maybe a couple games over. In a division like this, as a fan base, we should be saying, trade someone, go get somebody. right? We'd be saying, hey, Contreras is leading. Well, right now he's second in home runs because Acuna hit one to take the untie. They're both tied at 7 for the National League lead. We would say, hey, Miguel Amaya's ripping it up in AAA. Go trade him for someone because we'll extend Contreras, and you don't need a stud backup catcher. He'll be a big trade trip. Go get yourself another dominant pitcher or find yourself another bat. That's what we'd be doing. But everyone has kind of resounded the fact that no, if we're 500 at the All-Star break, that's when we got to sell everyone off and you got to rebuild, and you guys just buy all the fucking propaganda that gets sent your way. I've been spinning my wheels over here on these podcasts I've been doing lately, talking about how we do not need this massive rebuild again. It's fucking bullshit to think to yourself that you can't hold on to great pitchers. I literally had someone text me the other day going, hey, if it'd be really good to restart the rebuild, trading a guy like Chris Bryant would really restart the rebuild. And you know what I said? Extending a guy like Chris Bryant would really restart the rebuild, or whatever the fuck you're saying. This idea that you have to look, I understand Kimbrel because he might suck again next year. And to be honest with you, that's funny because that was my idea with Darvish at first. We're just mad that we didn't get more MLB ready prospects. It is funny to me that everyone who fucking hated Darvish, if Theo would have traded Darvish after his first terrible year, you guys would have been like, build the Theo statue now. That's how much Cubs Twitter hated you, Darvish. He came around and credited Tommy Hotovy. You credited Tommy Hotovy for getting him back on fucking his Hall of Fame level pace that he was on at one point in his career. And now it's like, I don't know. I just think this idea, no, fuck you. I'm sorry. I like the fans commenting, but there are just too many holes in this team right now. Do you understand how fucking baseball works? Fix the 2 holes. It's a lineup. In a baseball lineup, all you need to do 2 or 3 hitters changes the whole fucking complexion of a goddamn lineup. What was the difference between the lineup in 2014 Cubs versus 20? Like, you know what I mean? You add 2 more hitters. Any Cubs fan who thinks they need to completely tear down, rebuild, go watch a different fucking team. The Chicago Dogs are starting up soon, and they got cheap hot dogs on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'm fucking so done with every stupid ass fucking fan thinking they need a top to bottom rebuild. Sorry, I'm hogging the mic here, Cody, but it's annoying as shit to me. Sign Bryant, sign Rizzo, sign Contreras, buy Javi, buy Jock, buy fucking everyone else. I mean, hopefully Hap turns it around. I still believe in him long term, but you got Nico, who's only going to get better. Right? You got, and then go get a fucking another contact batter too. That's simple. The DH is coming to the NL. Go get Corey Seager. Are we not a big league club? Is this not fucking Chicago? Where the fuck are we playing, Cody? I thought we were playing Chicago. I thought we had the highest ticket prices in baseball. And you're telling me everyone wants to sell everyone? Fuck that shit.
Yeah. No, again, I was pretty negative tonight, but it was more just like from tonight's game. I'm not like I'm pretty tired of having to read everyone saying that we need to trade this guy or whatever right now or at the deadline when it's still April. But I think a lot of it just comes with.
Sorry, go ahead, Cody.
I think a lot of it is
like, look, if we're not there, if we're not fucking there, if we're 5 games under at the All-Star break or in the beginning of July, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you do talk the rest of the time. I swear to God, I will. If we're not there, look, and the wild card seems to be a long shot, then yes, trade 6 or 7 of these guys. Okay, trade Davies, see what you could get for him. Trade fucking Craig Kimbrel though should get you something pretty. Even trade Bryant, but this is what I want. I want in the offseason, go re-sign Bryant again. You know what I mean? This idea that we're going to trade everybody because we're not going to be good for another 5 years is fucking embarrassing. Yeah. The Atlanta Braves won 14 division titles in a row. Do you think they had the same squad all 14 years? Of course not. Right? They go, oh, Ron Gant's not good anymore. We're going to replace him. This guy's not good anymore. We're going to replace him. And they kept on fucking winning. Same with a lot of the big market teams. And I think that's where the Cubs need to fucking be mindset-wise. This isn't the 2011 Cubs where it's like, oh, shit. Not only do we have 0 farm system, we have a fucking horrible ballooned up payroll because for some reason we're giving Soriano all this fucking money. Marlon Byrd is getting all this fucking money. Carlos Zambrano is a psycho now. Like, they just had so many bad contracts. We have maybe 1 bad contract after this year, and it's Jason Hayward, who really you could deal with at $22 million for 2 more fucking years if you're a big market club, and for the leadership he brings to the table. Like, I want us to pick up Jake Arrieta's option right now for next year because he's been First of all, he's been awesome, and he's been a mentor to Adbert, and he'll be a mentor to Braylon Marquez when Braylon Marquez is in the fucking rotation, throwing 101 up people's dick. That's what I want people. I just don't like the idea of acting like we need to trade everyone and have this long ass rebuild again when there are fucking resources, people. Cody,
Yeah.
I'm muting myself. Go for it, bud.
No, you're good, man. I'm gonna go through some of the comments because you kind of said a lot of it, basically everything that I would say.
I love everyone watching too. Sorry, I got mad. You guys are great.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's cool. But one guy, Dope Redbeard, he asked, "What do we have a word on Jock's return?" I read something recently that said that he is like he could face live pitching on Friday or Saturday. This is an article that came out on April 26th. Today is the 28th. So I don't know if they're going to do like a minor league stint. I know the minor league season is starting like sometime really soon. So I don't know. But I expect Jock back by next week. I would guess.
Just another question. How many top 100 prospects? The Cubs had 4 at the start of the year in Marquez, Brennan Davis, Miguel Amaya, and Nico was still considered a prospect. And then there's a few guys who were like on that fringe level. Look, at the end of the year, I think you could get a top 50 for Kimbrel if he keeps this up. And I think a couple guys are going to graduate into that top 100. There was no minor league system season last year. Plus, you can't go everything by prospects. Addison Russell was once the 3rd best prospect in all of baseball, and look how he turned out. There's been a lot of guys who were on nobody's radar. I talked about this with Sarah Sanchez, who writes for Bleed Cubby Blue, that Wilson Contreras, by the way, we almost lost in the Rule 5 draft. Nobody protected him. He wasn't highly touted at all. He never cracked any top 100 list, top whatever list. And then bam, he comes up and hits a home run off of Clayton Kershaw in Game 6 of the NLCS and has a great rookie season. And then has been an all-star ever since. So like Christian Hernandez will eventually be in there too. Someone mentions. Yeah, maybe we should just answer
they have
questions here.
Yeah, they have like 4 top 100s right now, right? They have Brennan Davis and Miguel Amaya. I think you mentioned Braylon Marquez.
I mentioned Nico too, which someone asked. Yeah, do you think I'll ask you this question, Cody, that someone asked? I missed the comment. Now, sorry, everyone. The comments come up on the side. What do you think of Nico long term at leadoff?
Oh, I love him so far. And even though today he didn't do anything, I think the approach that he has showed the first 2 days have been nice. I think that at this point they don't have a better like person to put there if they want someone who's going to get on base and put the bat on the ball. Like I think the contact is a huge quality that the team just doesn't have a lot of. So I think that Nico being there is like I said, we saw a lot of good stuff from him yesterday. Today, no one was good in the offense, so it's hard to really juggle with that.
As far as long term at leadoff, I don't know. I love with the leadoff hitter. I look for 2 things: on base percentage and the ability to go first to third. I don't look for stolen bases because this isn't 1987. The number of teams that have a burner at leadoff, you could count on one hand. Like there's just not a lot. A lot of teams have power guys at leadoff actually right now. Nico, I think actually Nico is better at second base. I think he's elite defensively. At shortstop, he's actually above average. Someone says he's just average. That's actually not true. He's a little bit above average at shortstop defensively and could play a mean third base as we saw at times last year in 2020. Long term, because he makes such good contact, I want to see him more of a number 6 hitter because I want him driving in runs. I mean, I guess the leadoff guy could come up with those opportunities, but not as frequently. I don't mind when Ian Happ was going good last year, he was still striking out, but he was also getting on base 360. Right now he's only getting on base 315, 320, which is actually surprisingly good for a 150 batting average. If his average was about 250, he would have a 400 on base percentage. And now you're talking about the best leadoff hitter in the game. That's just the way it goes. When I think leadoff, I don't think we need a guy who can hit more ground balls and more fly ball. I don't give a shit. You're leading off. There's no one on base in front of you. The only times strikeouts bother me is when you're not advancing runners or bringing them home. That's my personal thing. But overall, I think you're right, Cody. I like his athleticism. I like that he sprays the ball from right field line to left field line. That's great. I'm a huge fan of Nico, and I see him in the Cubs' long-term plans. I really do.
Yeah, no, I guess maybe we need to see more of Nico, maybe take some more walks. But I mean, again, we haven't really got a chance to really see him for, 500 plate appearances or whatever,
Agreed. Agreed.
So I don't think we really know, but you can see the adjustments he's made at the plate, and any fastball coming inside to him, he's going to take it and put it somewhere where there's no outfielder. And that's the thing that I've noticed the most so far. That and the fact that he just doesn't strike out really at all, and that's a refreshing thing, honestly. Yeah, I mean, we got so many comments tonight, so thanks to everyone for sliding in. I tweeted out, like, come join the rant fest that I was about to go on. Joe's pretty much said everything that I wanted to say, but another guy says, I think it's about Nico. He shouldn't be sent back down. In my opinion, he can play every day for us.
I agree 100%.
Level. Yeah, I agree.
Is right 100%.
For sure.
And so mentions how Contreras was a Jim Hendry guy. That's true. Contreras and Baez were both Hendry guys, the only two Hendry guys on the World Series roster. Yeah, Hendry's started. That was his last like draft and international signings got a little bit better. Jim Hendry's strength as a GM was he made good trades and had a couple good free agent signings. You know, he was okay. He had some good years. But yeah, anyway. Yeah.
But he had also made a lot of bad contract decisions too, and you kind of pointed out that the Cubs aren't in that position. Yeah. Like
Soriano, I mean, everyone said that no other team came close to that. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? He gave this guy that no one thought would age well $138 million, which at the time was crazy high, and it was like $18 million per year, and it really did kind of screw the team up for a little bit there. You know what Jim Hendry did? He didn't think long term. All of his stuff was a short window. That 07-08 Cubs team was really, if they didn't win in those 2 years, because the average age was like 32. Everyone was falling off a cliff. I think that's what's been frustrating and weird for us Cubs fans this past run. We won the World Series at 20. They were like 24, 25-year-olds, 23-year-olds even. And that made everyone think, oh, well, we're going to be a dynasty. We're going to be this. And I think it also hurt their chances extending these guys, which then in turn put a different kind of pressure on them as players. Yeah. I really believe that hurt extending them because as a professional athlete, you talk to any pro athlete, and Cody, you and I have talked about this before. Once they win the ring, they want to get paid. They want the money. They want that, they want that fat paycheck, which you can't blame them for because as a professional athlete, you don't know when your career is going to end. So they all kind of held out. We're finding out more and more that the Cubs did offer extensions to each different player. Apparently, I don't know. The one about Brian says no, but everyone else is like, no, he got offered something. So who knows what that is? But we found out Baez turned down $180 million. We're finding out. I mean, Rizzo got lowballed recently, so I'm not counting that. But we have heard that they've been, hey, we talked to this guy, we talked to that guy, and it just hasn't worked out. And I think because they were like, well, we want a ring. So now we want to get paid. Where I'll give the White Sox some credit. I think they saw what was going on the north side and thought, oh, we got to lock these guys up before they win a ring. Because if you wait until afterwards, there's no longer like a discount because it's like, hey, I got a family. Every one of the Cubs players has gotten married and had kids since they won the World Series in 2016. Every one of them, I think. Except I don't know if Rizzo doesn't have a kid yet, but he's gotten married. Well, he's got Kevin, the cute dog.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we kind of ventured off into a lot of different things. Is there anything else on this game to really talk about? Like, there really isn't. I think at least for me, the game sucked today. And the Cubs, they needed a rebound in a big way, and they didn't. And to me personally, I mean, we haven't even talked about Brandon Workman. I hate the fact that Ross brought him back in, try to give him like that bounce back, appearance, I guess. I'm sure that's how he's going to spin it to the Chicago media. But he was not good yesterday, and he was not good tonight. It was a 2-0 game going in the ninth inning. Turned out to be 5-0. To me, I haven't complained about David Ross a lot, man. But tonight's a game where I'm like, I can't stick up for you tonight, man. So
I caught some of the post game, and he said that they're still trying to find the guy to trust when they're down in a close game. They got their guys to hold the lead, but you need those guys to keep you within striking distance. And Joe Madden struggled in that department big time too. He would often go back to a guy who had just blown it. Workman's weird because in his last full 2020 was, I don't know what his numbers were, but I saw in 2019 he gave up 1 home run in like 80 innings. He was one of the hardest guys to hit home run off of. He's already given up a few bombs this year. And that pitch he threw to Freeman was 94 and inside. It wasn't a strike. That's how he got in.
Me and Juice talked about that last night. I'm
not sticking up for him. I'm not sticking up for him because you're right, dude. That was awful. But yeah, sometimes you got to tip your hat too. There's a reason Freddie Freeman won an MVP last year and all that, and
Right. I
whatever.
think that's what it comes down to is just Freddie Freeman. But also, I mean, just more the appearance tonight, I think, just kind of capitalized on like everything that happened last night. And that's why I was just like, I feel like he's kind of fallen out of that like close, you're trailing but close type situation. I feel like you gotta like I feel like he's gotta be down like in the Dylan Maples is moving his way up into the spot that he's in right now, honestly. But I think he's got to go like the Cubs got to have a game where they're either down 5 or 6 runs or up 5 or 6 runs and then give him another shot. Cause like I just don't trust him in any situation of a close game right now. After these last two appearances. And even before that, he was kind of shaky anyway, as you even said, like he's already given up, a couple homers.
I can't remember if it was him or Winkler who had that god awful performance where they came in and just walked the bases loaded.
It was Jason Adam. He's thinking about Jason Adam. No, okay.
No,
well, they sent him down yesterday.
Where I think it was Winkler or Workman. They came in and literally just walked the bases loaded. Jason Adam, some of the Jason Adam hate I've seen is ridiculously unfair. He was awesome last year, and really has had 2 bad starts this year. The one outing was just and then whatever. Yeah, dude, I think with the bullpen, I want to see Justin Steele back. I want to see Pedro Strop back. I want to see Zach Davies sent to the 10-day DL. Because look, Zach Davies has been a guy though where he's had a good career. I know Cubs fans immediately were like, Zach Davies, look at his numbers. He's had a good career. He was a Brewer, so we hated him. He looks like a pencil neck. There's just, but for the most part, I think he just needs to reset his mechanics. There's clearly something going on with that. Dopebeard said it was Winkler did it against the Mets too, I believe. Yeah, luckily. All right. But this one dude is really going off in the comments about Jim Hendry, justice for Jim. I love Trader Jim, but I definitely think with no budget, Hendry drafted LeMahieu, Josh Donaldson. What happened to Donaldson? Javi signed Wilson and Starling. No, look, he did some good stuff, but it was over, 11 years? He came into the organization in 95, and I think was the GM for like 11 seasons. Look, Jim Hendry had some really good years. The Tribune wanted a quick fix to sell high. I do remember that. Remember that one offseason? DeRosa, they signed Lily, Soriano. And I remember that was when Sam Zell took over the Cubs and he wanted to flip. Or maybe the Trib wanted to flip and then Zell bought them. And then I think he wanted to flip too. Because he was a big venture capitalist, that guy. What made me lose the love for Jim Hendry was the Milton Bradley signing, trading Mark DeRosa, which I thought was stupid at the time.
I agree.
And not selling high on some guys. He could have sold high on Derek Lee, which he didn't do. Like Derek Lee had like 2 years left and it was clear that he was starting to dip and they could have moved him. Derek Lee I love Derek Lee in his prime, but then he became like a double play machine. I swear to God, he grounded like 30 double plays one season. Still a Gold Glove first baseman and a great clubhouse guy, but you kind of got to, sell high a little bit. As far as LeMahieu goes, my God, I feel like DJ LeMahieu, everyone, was Darwin Barney before Colorado. Look at his splits. He had one season in Denver where he was over 100 weighted runs created plus. This guy, everyone acts like DJ LeMahieu was the biggest sacrilege throwing him in that deal. No one gave a fuck. No one gave a fuck about him. They were just like, all right, fine.
No. I mean, it's all hindsight.
It's all hindsight is my point. And the Yankees signed him for 2 years, $24 million. So it's not like all these other teams were knocking down the door.
Well, after his tenure in Colorado, people were using the splits in Colorado compared to the road, like everyone does with the Colorado players. And he obviously had hit better in Colorado than he did on the road. So that's why he didn't really get anything from the Yankees. And then he played well in New York and just kind of really turned into one of the best infielders in the league, honestly.
No, I give him, you're right. I give him a lot of credit. He is a stud now and he's fantastic. But there's just, I don't like when people rewrite history. This idea that like DJ LeMahieu, holy shit, I can't believe we let go of the next bit. Like it wasn't like that. It really wasn't. He went to Colorado.
And the fact that like the Cubs in that trade really didn't get anything out of it. I mean, Ian Stewart was trash. So.
No, it was a bad trade. Coleman for Ian Stewart straight up was a bad trade. Throwing in LeMahieu, yes, that's a bad trade, but I just don't like that. I think people, whenever I bring up to people that DJ LeMahieu only had one season in Colorado where he was above average offensively, according to Fangraphs and Baseball Reference, they look at me like, no way that's correct. And then they research and they go, oh shit. Yeah, he was declining. His last 2 seasons, 2017 and 2018 in Colorado, he had Addison Russell numbers. You're telling me that's the guy we needed to bring back so desperately? No. And I think the Colorado, look, if he would have stayed with us, I don't think he develops the same way. I think
Probably
going to Colorado was good for him. He made himself a different type of hitter and all that kind of shit. Yeah, Gold Glove winner. By the way, guys who can't hit are usually good fielders. If you can't hit, you have to be a good fielder. Otherwise, you're not in the fucking league. That's why I brought up Darwin Barney. Darwin Barney was an amazing second baseman. He fucking had as much power as you, Cody. You got great power, man.
Yeah,
tremendous
thanks.
power. So
yeah, I like to swing the bat a little bit. All right, man. Well, we're out 35 minutes. Let's kind of preview tomorrow's game. I know Kyle Hendricks goes tomorrow for the Cubs. I'm going to search who the Braves got.
Oh, should I do more talking? I don't think I've got enough words in. No, I'm sorry. By the way, guys in the chat or in the comments, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys commenting in. We're all a little frustrated as Cubs fans, so I don't mean to be snippy with you guys.
Oh boy, I cannot pronounce this guy's name.
So apologies there. Jim Hendry was a good GM, and I heard a great person. I know a couple people who knew him and said great things about him. So I'm not knocking him. I just explained why I thought it was time to move on from him. And obviously, when a Theo Epstein becomes available, you go get Theo Epstein. So as far as the bullpen goes, people are like, who can be the guy outside of Chafe and Kimbrel? Hey, Trevor McGill looked fantastic yesterday. Justin Steele, I feel, looked good in his brief appearances. I'm all for, hey, let's start bringing up some live arms and figuring it out there. Hopefully Jason, once that's so fucking, I'm so annoyed that the minor league system still hasn't started yet. Or the minor league season.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to start. Like, I assume it starts.
I'm happy about. But like, man.
Right.
It's just an annoying thing because when you have a team where you're not sure what direction they're going in and they're hanging around in a very winnable division, you want to look to AAA and say, all right, bring this guy up. Like, which we haven't been able to do since 2019. Remember 2019 when Zobrist had the personal problems and he had to take a leave and everyone's like, well, shit, we don't have a second baseman now. And then we brought Robel Garcia. It didn't work out ultimately. He had a nice week, I think, or two.
Yeah, he had a nice couple of weeks. Yeah. Nice couple weeks. Hit a ball into the Bay in San Francisco. That's probably his best highlight as a Cub.
He actually had a walk-off hit the other day, Robel Garcia. He's on the Astros and he had a walk-off base hit for them.
Really?
Two former Cubs have had walk-offs in the last week or so with Schwarber, I think, at the beginning of last week.
Schwarber had one, yeah.
Now Robel Garcia. But I bring that up because as fans during the 2019 season, we're like, all right, we got to hold second base. Let me go to the Iowa Cubs statistics. Who's this Garcia guy who's lighting it up? Bring him on up. Let's see what we got. Right now, I think we're going through that a little bit with the bullpen now, which is unfortunate because the bullpen was a strong point up until like the last week or so. And now we're like, all right, we don't know who to bring up because we don't know what's going on at the alternate sites and all that other shit. Like, it's frustrating as a fan because you want to know what you could do to help the ball club like yesterday. Like, what could we do to help yesterday?
For sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that if you could see, especially with like the young guys like Bro Caraway and like Ryan Jensen and, a few other guys that, they haven't had any like professional experience yet, but I know Bro Caraway, they describe Bro Caraway as like one of the most ready guys in the draft last year. I don't know where the Cubs are going to start him, but either way, like I could see him as like a later in the year type guy if he really just kind of starts the season off nice in the minor league year. But it's again, and just pointing back at the whole, the season hasn't started, so we're just kind of like waiting. But yeah, no, I agree, man.
Well, here's something for you, buddy. I'll say this real quick. We need Kyle Hendricks to go at least 7 innings tomorrow. We need a deep start out of him. We need him to be vintage Kyle. We need the bats to get going early, okay? Look, even if we don't score in the first inning, I want a first inning with like good at bats. I don't want to see like fucking plate appearances where you're swinging over a curveball that's in the dirt and you have a level swing like you didn't know it was going to be in the dirt. Like, because we had a couple of bats like that where it's like, what are you doing? Like, at least have an idea of what the guy. That's what I'm wondering. Do we not tell the scouting report to our players? Are we not going, hey, by the way, this guy throws fastballs. He likes to ride them in on people. His breaking ball sweeps away like this. Try to pick up the spin here. If anything, creep up a little. Like, I don't know. There's something going on there.
Right.
But here, to switch to something positive, because I know you love this, a guy who's a friend of the podcast, and I know someone you're very high on, has been getting a lot of national love now, which is another thing. That's how quickly farm systems could turn. A couple guys are going to the radar. So why don't you sing the praises of one Max Bain?
Oh yeah, Max Bain is he's not only is it just a good dude, but I mean he's a guy anyone can really just like root for. He went undrafted, so every team passed up on him, and then the Cubs signed him like in January last year, and at the time he was pumping 94, 96, anywhere in that range, and through his whatever the Cubs or the minor league system has him doing, he's now hitting consistently 99 triple digits area. He's I think Brian Smith
101 on one thing.
Yeah, like triple digits, 99, somewhere in there, man. Like either way, it's pretty good. But yeah, no. Brian Smith from Bleacher Nation today, I saw him tweet like probable like starters for all three systems, and he had Max Bain as like the fifth starter for South Bend, which is I think in and itself is just really impressive because I mean again the guy went undrafted and he just like worked really hard, and I know there was no minor league season last year, so who knows where he would have been last year, probably in like Arizona Fall League or something like that, but I'm cheering for that guy very hard to reach the Cubs one day.
Dude, he lost a shitload of weight too. Didn't he lose like 50 pounds?
Yeah, he lost a shit ton of weight. Yeah, he lost a shit ton of weight, and he has a huge chip on his shoulder, and so yeah, no, I'm definitely keeping an eye on him. I'm hoping to get over to South Bend sometime this summer and see him pitch. So
I want to see it too. I want to go see our A team have a number 5 starter throwing 100.
Right.
That sounds great to me. I mean, I know more and more pitchers are throwing high velocity. That's like the more common thing. I was talking about this with someone recently. There's always been high velocity guys throughout baseball, but now more and more it's become like a specialty, especially with like relievers. It's not a specialty. It's become more par for the course. So yeah, it's definitely very, very difficult to hit these days with so many guys. Because it used to be like a couple each, maybe 1 or 2 guys per team. Now it's 3 or 4 guys a bullpen are throwing high 90s. So yeah, it's just completely changed from like the way the game was even 25 years ago.
Right. Yeah, man. All right. Well, anyway, man, I was going to mention, you mentioned Kyle Hendricks. He bounced back in his last start. And the start before that, he got roughed up by the same Braves team. So hopefully, he has a much better performance tomorrow. But the Cubs go up against, I can't pronounce his name. I want to say Huascar Yanoa. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm saying that right.
Hopefully it doesn't matter. Hopefully they light him up.
But the Cubs already tagged him for 3 homers on April 17th. So, it says Wilson Contreras has 2 homers against him. Very young guy. He's got a 3.68 ERA, 25 strikeouts on the year. But the Cubs have already hit him well already, so hopefully that's a good sign for the offense tomorrow. Hopefully Kyle Hendricks, like you said, goes deep. He gets, I think, for a guy like Kyle Hendricks, if he's not right, you get like 3 runs and you're good. You're Gucci. So that's what I'm hoping for. I think that's the recipe for success tomorrow, man. Before we get out of here, you got to fly a W player for me?
Well, I already feel like you're going to go with Wilson Contreras since you just mentioned the 2 home runs. So I'll let you have Willie. I'm going to go my fly the W player for tomorrow. And just to answer Dope Redbeard, we do breakdowns. We do post game. He asked if we do pre game, but no, just post game. Every post game you could catch the Cubs on Tap crew. It's a rotating group, but you'll see mostly the same faces every night or every day, depending on when the game ends.
And you can go search the podcast on like any platform, really. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever. You'll find us. So if you missed the live stream, you can listen to it the next day.
Absolutely. So. My fly the W player is going to be, all right, who is due to break out? I'm going to, I was going to say Ian Happ because he is due to break out, but I would rather have him have a day off. I think he needs an off day just to reset the brain. I still have high hopes for him. He's been hitting the ball hard, but just a lot of bad luck. The swing looks a little long, so I think he needs an off day to reset his brain. So my player is going to be Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, he's kind of due too. Yeah, he's due.
His last at bat looked really good today, and he's been his at bats overall have been pretty solid. So, but I think he's due to have like one of those good old fashioned double and a home run, 2 for 4 type of performances.
Yeah, no, I like it. Well, I always have the joke about Andrew Chafin being my fly W player, but if I did have to pick an offensive player, I'll take Willie, like you kind of said you'd let me have. Again, 2 homers against this guy. I think he's a rookie, so he doesn't have much experience. I think Willie sees him good, and like we already talked about earlier tonight, Willie had a bad day today. Hopefully, he can bounce back. Honestly, we just need to get the offense like back on track that we saw the last week. Today was the worst the offense has looked. I think in the last week. I know the offense was kind of dead against the Brewers, but I credit their pitching, their starting pitching, and their bullpen. Honestly, is the reason the Brewers are in first place, and that annoys me.
Really, in that Brewers series, we killed them. Game 1 of that series, like destroyed them.
Right.
Game 2, we lost 4-3, but we had good at bats. You could suffer losses. I remember the 4-3 loss on Saturday was one of those losses that most of the Cubs blogs were just like, those happen. It sucks. Adbert Alzolay looked great. But he was on a pitch count, so he got pulled early. All right, Nico looked good. There was Jason Hayward hit a big home run. We were so close. That bullshit call in the 9th inning that David Ross got ejected on. That ball was a foot above, not a foot, but at least 6 inches high. It affected that whole at bat. And so we lost 4-3. All right, fine. The next game, Woodruff, again, like you said, is Woodruff. But you're right. Today was the worst the offense has looked in a good 10 games. Because I really feel like the last 10 games, the Cubs were playing in a way where it's like, all right, if we're going to be a 500 team, this is at least fun to watch. Because they had some breakout games. They had some better quality at bats up and down. They weren't just going up there looking clueless, swinging at pitches 3 feet outside, late on everything. Like they at least were making it fun.
Yeah. No, I think you said it on whatever. I can't remember whatever the last pod you were on. I think you said something that was like, well, if the Cubs offense plays like this, they'll at least be fun to watch or like watchable. And I think that was right. Probably right.
That's something to
right
look
in like the
fan.
Mets series. I want to say it was the Mets series or something. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. I don't have anything else, man. I want to remind everyone this is Cubs on Tap, the official Cubs podcast of On Tap Sportsnet. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody on Tap and Joe at Joe Kilgallen. Thanks for joining me tonight, Joe. This was fun.
Thanks for letting me hog the mic. I'm so sorry, buddy.
No, you're totally good, man. The comments, this shows that people loved it, so I have no complaints here.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.